Hello, this is Noreen Crone-Findlay from to+video. My studio is full of flowers because I have been experimenting like mad with playing with all kinds of different ways of making flowers using my spool knitters as flower looms and working just on the top of the spool knitter rather than all the way through. So you can do, I'm just going to be showing you how I do my favorite size, because the same, you can see here I've done all kinds of different sizes and numbers of pegs. The technique is the same for no matter what size of spool knitter you're using, and whether it's a 6 peg or an 8 peg. It's the same technique. If you use a 5 peg, it's you'll wrap your spool knitter a little bit differently, but the making, wrapping the pegs and making the center is the same. And I'm going to show you the technique using my favorite size and configuration of spool knitter that I use for the spool knitted flowers. I just want to, before we go with that, I'm just going to mention that you can finish your flowers all kinds of ways. You can sew a pin on the back. You can make a paper face and draw it and varnish it and glue it on. You can leave it plain. You can put vintage buttons or beads or charms or found objects. You can use them in crochet, in embroidery, jewelry making, all kinds of ways. They're just great. So this is the second video that I'm making about using spool knitters for flower making, and I love it. This spool knitter is one that I made a video of, so you'll be able to make this as well. You can adapt it to make a 5 peg spool knitter. I'm bumping into my light here. By just using, 5 pegs. I use cotter pins for this one instead of 6. Or if you want to go to 8, use the same technique that I used in making this one and put 8, in this case, cotter pins in. And they work great. So I'll post the link in the notes below this video and on Facebook and Instagram. But go to tottytalkscrafts.com and in the categories type in spool knitting, and all the links for all kinds of wonderful things will show up. Now this, I really love working with sock yarn, especially self-patterning variegated sock yarn. It's really fun. I prefer to work with yarns that are that have spring to them, so that it's easier to work with. And so, yay! So this one has a vintage button. You can use beads, charms, whatever. Okay, so let's get started. Now I'm using 5 or 6 strands held together. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strands of different kinds of sock yarn, and I've put a rubber band around my spool knitter, and it's going to hold the ends in place. So I'm just going to pop that through just there, because I just want them held in place. That it just acts like your best friend holding on to it for you. So now you go across and go around once and twice, and then turn and go once and twice, and after, just a minute, did I do twice? Okay, and now turn, and then once and twice, and turn once and twice, and turn once and twice, and once and twice. And this now brings me back to the starting point. So now you snip off your ends, and there you go. You're going to take this end through at the same place that you started, and that goes down there. Now I'm going to take about a yard, or this one, I think this is more than a yard. I've folded it in half, so here's the fold. Just push this out of the way so you can see. Okay, the fold is not where I'm going to start working from. I'm going to put the ends, I fold my ends over my needle and I push them through the ends. Now, I want to make sure that I have secured my starting and ending strands, and so I have gone through under all of them, and I'm going to take my needle through that loop that was at the other end here. And now I'm going to very enthusiastically pull up on the strands, and I'm going to tug quite vigorously towards the middle, because we want the push that in as closely as we can to the middle. We want as much petal, you know, proportionally more petal than center. And so you come again, move to your next set of petal strands, and now you go under it, wrap around, and push down on it to hold up, and pull through, and with your other thumbnail push down hard. This is why I do not have beautifully manicured nails, because I use them as a tool, and I just keep working my way around so that I'm holding on to the thread. I'm going to push that down and go wrap around, come up, and again I'm pulling to get my petals moved to close to the center as I can, and under, and wrap around and push down on the strand there and pull up again with great enthusiasm, and under and up and around, and there we go. Now sometimes what I like to do is I'll do embroidery on the top of the flower, or you can just leave it plain. And usually, okay, there we go, let's get that untangled. Usually I like to go around at least one more time, just to really make sure that the center is secure. Gotta have that nice center really well connected there. Pull back, kind of walk it and rock it, and again around, wrap around your needle and pull up. You can hold on to, you know, the tail ends of this center for like you don't necessarily want to trim them off yet, because you can use them for stitching the embellishments onto the flower, or you can use them for attaching the flower to other things. Now the petal ends are going to get woven in because you don't want them flapping and flailing around. And so once I have made it all the way around, and because I began my center section by using that loop at the beginning, there's no extra set of ends at the beginning of the center, which it's really good, you know, it gets it out of the way. But what I am going to do is I'm going to take this down through here and pull it right through so that it comes out on the back. And I like to use this as the front. Some people might prefer to use the back section as the front. I'm going to now slide. Oops, I need to take these guys out of the rubber band. And then I'm going to slide the petals off the pegs and pull that out. And then what I like to do is sort of twist and turn each of the petals, and that will flatten them out. If your petals aren't cooperating, and we'll get rid of these guys in a second, you can press them down, and if you use quite a thick yarn, you can use your needle to separate out the strands. So here's the flower, not quite finished, because what I want to do is now I need to weave in these ends. And so for weaving in the ends, I will take the ends, just pull that up through the needle. Sometimes I need to use a shorter, yeah, actually I'm going to flip over to using a shorter, smaller needle and do it just a few strands at a time. And I'll go into the center of the back and stitch through a couple of times with each set of threads, just so that those ends just will vanish, and I'll come out under one of the center wraps with those ends, and then I'll snip really close to those wraps and throw them away. So I'm going to just finish snipping around, snipping and stitching those tail ends in, and then I'll be back and show you the finished flower. So here's the back of the flower, all tidied up, and the front all ready to become part of something else beautiful. You can make a tiara with them or a flower crown, make dolls with them. Just, oh my goodness, the sky's the limit. So I hope that you will have a wonderful time making lovely spool knitted flowers and just finding delight in all these ways. So go to tottytalkscrafts.com for all the links, and my social media is at Noreen.Crone-Findlay, Noreen.Crone-Findlay, and that's where you'll find me. And so, like I said, this is the second in a series of, oops, my dog is now howling, so I have to go see to him. So happy spool knitting, and I hope your dog sings to you too.